This is the BodPod, the podcast where we welcome friends and experts to talk all things body image, self-love, and confidence. This is the BodPod.
Hi, BodPod squad. Thanks for being here for another episode. I'm your resident confidence coach and hype girl, Rachel K. Grimm. And today I am here with Natalie Craig of Natalie in the City. Natalie is a Chicago-based influencer sharing her petite plus style tips to show the world that short plus size women belong in fashion. In 2024, she's contributed to Cosmos magazine with an article, My Fat Liberation is Not a Trend. And I am so excited for today as we talk all things body confidence online and in the media with Natalie.
Thank you for having me, Rachel. I'm so excited to be here. Obviously, talking about my body and our bodies is something that I love doing, and I love making sure that everyone feels empowered to be confident and love themselves. So I'm so excited to get into it.
Yes, girl, you're in the right place, and everyone listening is in the right space for a good combo. I know that you're going to bring so much goodness to this conversation too, because you've been creating online in this space, showing up authentically as you are for so long. I remember the first time I saw your content, you're like an OG blogger too, not just out here like suddenly popped up on TikTok. And I think it's really awesome to get your point of view on how things have changed and how they will continue to change and how we can, love and accept ourselves throughout all of this change. But I really want to start with that way back part of Natalie. Like, how did you get into plus petite fashion? I feel like that's such a niche space. I know as a short, curvy girl that it really resonates. And I think there are a lot of women out there too who are looking for their niche that their body, their clothes fit into to find, women who represent them. So I want to hear a little bit about your journey of finding your way into the plus petite fashion space.
Yeah. So I started my fashion blog in 2013, and I was originally just wanting to write about fashion. I was studying journalism in college, and I really, really loved clothes. Like, I've loved clothes my entire life. And I kind of used them as like a shield or armor because I was picked on a lot for my size. I had made a pretty big move from California to Idaho when I was a teenager. And so I was just always like the subject of bullying and just feeling like very othered. And so I used clothing and fashion as a way to like feel my best. And so I just loved talking about fashion. And so I started my blog when I was in college. I just wanted to write and talk about fashion. And I didn't originally start with like a plus size niche or talking about plus size clothing. I was just documenting my outfits of the day as most fashion bloggers were doing back then. But then when I moved to Chicago, I started blogging a little bit more, and I started talking about my body a little bit more. And I kind of fell into this like audience of plus size women who were emailing me. And all of a sudden I was getting attention from women who were like, you have my same body. And like, I've never seen anyone dress like you for our body. And I was like, wow. So like, maybe I need to talk about being plus size or like identify as being plus size, which I guess I always identified as like big or fat or chunky. I don't know that like the fashion industry plus size term was something that I used to describe myself ever before that time. But then the rise of body positivity was kind of happening at that time. So it just felt really natural. And I started talking to these women who looked like me. And I started also following a lot more women who had my same body type. And it was just like a beautiful thing. I mean, it was single-handedly like the thing that changed my perception of my body and kept me feeling like, I'm not alone in this. Like, everybody struggles with their body, and everybody has, struggles finding clothes that fit their body. And so I just really wanted to kind of focus in on that on my blog, and then also on social media, and the two just kind of went hand in hand. So I just started talking a lot more about my body and how I was dressing it.
And now you're doing a series on social media called I Look Like This and I Wear What I Want, which I think goes into that empowerment piece. Where exactly did that series come from? Was that like a light bulb moment, or was that taking an extension from a conversation you had with someone specifically?
Yeah, well, I mean, ever since I've been kind of doing this work in the plus size space, I know that terms and certain words have not always resonated with everybody. Like whenever I, am in a space, people ask like, what do you prefer to be identified as? Like fat or plus size or
Yeah.
curvy? What's your preferred term? And so now, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but now with just like the landscape and the overall vibes around body positivity and weight loss and just bodies in general, which it's just such a difficult time as someone who works really hard to exist in a body positive mindset and space.
Yes.
And so I have just been, I would say for the past year, I've just been so uninspired, I think is the right word, and just so down about where we're kind of going in terms of talking about women's bodies.
Right.
And I felt like one day I just like got in front of my camera and I was like, this is what I look like. And if you look like this too, you can wear this outfit. Like it doesn't matter. It's like whatever your body looks like, you can wear whatever you want. And some people might look at my body and be like, you should wear things that are looser, or you should wear things that come in at the waist, or you should wear things that accentuate your butt a certain way. And like, I'm so sick of that dialogue on social media.
Yes.
And like people, even with this series, people are just like, no, shouldn't wear that. And I really felt like this series was something like I had no idea that it was going to reach like thousands of people,
Yeah.
but something that I needed. And it's something that really helped me get right with myself after feeling so down and feeling so confused about, where I fit into this new space and this new dialogue. And I'm just like, so it's just like, hey, no matter what you identify as, and no matter what terms you use to identify your body, like I look like this
Yeah.
and you look like that. So like, let's just wear the clothes. Let's wear the
Yes.
clothes.
In a way, I feel like you're taking back your power for your body and also then empowering other people to do the same by wearing what they want. Because as you said, there's so much conversation right now, specifically about bodies and how exactly bodies should be showing up. I I really want to point out that you mentioned the body positivity space or the movement like multiple times. And a lot of us in this space recognize that now it has almost a negative reputation, which is so disheartening when, we've worked so hard to find this, to create it as a space of acceptance and a space of empowerment. And what's interesting about what you're doing with this series is though you're not necessarily using those terms or identifying in that community, you're doing that same take your power back with claiming your body as not just okay, but like great to exist in.
Yeah. Or just like worthy of wearing cute clothes. Like my
Yes.
body worthy of just like having a happy life. And I think I've never been afraid to put terms or identify with terms or, you can call me fat or plus size or body positive or whatever.
Yes.
I don't mind being put in those boxes, but for me, it's just like I don't really understand sort of what you were saying about this negative connotation around body positivity. And I
True.
try when I meet people who really do not like this movement at all or felt like it's the reason why we're backsliding. Like
Yeah.
some people say it's like toxic positivity, which I can understand, but I don't really understand what is so bad about accepting and like appreciating your body in the current state that it's in. And I don't know that I ever will. Like I try to talk to people
Yes.
who are body neutral, but most of the people I talk to who are body neutral, which people claim is like maybe a healthier mindset to be in than full positivity. Um, those are usually people who don't exist in larger bodies. And as
Yes.
someone who exists in a larger body, I can't imagine going through my day, not necessarily having thoughts about my body and how it exists in this world and the space that it takes up. And
Yes.
so I've just been trying to like figure out why is body positivity becoming this thing that's so negative or becoming this thing that people don't want or don't like? Because for me, it saved me. And like, it doesn't mean that every single day I wake up and it's like, I feel so great about my body and no negative
Yes.
thought into my mind, but it is something that I'm committed to because my body is worthy of love, friendship, acceptance, cute clothes, everything. Like just because it's
Yes.
lost, it doesn't mean that it's not worthy. And like I will
Yes.
forever be in that mindset, because that's the best way to live life. The past 10 years of my life have been nothing short of remarkable, because I chose to stop listening to people who said my body wasn't enough. And that's just forever the truth.
To quote Taylor, like, is it me? Am I the problem? Because I know that I am an eternal optimist. I look at things very optimistically. I try to see, the bright side of everything. And I recognize that body positivity for me has been a positive thing, has allowed me to not just accept myself and allow others to accept themselves too. But I try to recognize, like, okay, sure, that hasn't been the experience for everyone, but for me, body positivity has been exactly that. So I really resonate with what you're saying. And I appreciate you saying that, because I feel like it is a very split conversation right now. But I know that a lot of people listening will love your perspective on that.
And I guess I have a question for you, because as someone who also think that I'm an eternal optimist as well.
Yeah. Like, tell me.
I mean, of course I can complain and rant and, all day, but I do think I am more optimistic than maybe most people. And so also you identifying is that, do you feel like that made it easier for you to accept and embrace and actually implement body positivity into your life? Because I feel like, even if, yes, you're naturally, the glass is half full and you're naturally in that positive mindset, what we've been through around our bodies and diet culture growing up when we did, that stuff is not easy to get over, work through.
Yes, I think that's a great question. And I don't know that I've ever thought of that exactly. I think you're right. I do think, because, as you said, I do see things naturally, the glass half full. I do think it's a bit, or has been a bit, easier for me. Sometimes people will ask me, like, where my confidence has come from. And I think that a lot of that has been nurtured throughout my life. My parents instilling me a level of confidence, though it wasn't always about my body. I would actually say it was not about my body. But with other things, I knew how to, like, grow a level of confidence and find love and trust in myself. And so I think that has allowed me to find that in my body much easier. But though I think that has been a benefit to me, I also think that I'm lucky enough to be in this space, and I know you are too, where we've seen other people, other women who maybe don't have that same level of optimism and confidence and positivity, find their way to self-acceptance too. And I just say that as in, you and I, though we may be more optimistic and lucky to come from that mindset, it's not impossible to get to a place of self-acceptance if you aren't naturally that way.
Yeah, I agree. And I think about that too, when you talk about support and, having a family. And I've personally created, like, a supportive group of friends. Like, my friends are the best, even though our bodies are all different and we're all of different gender. Like, they have never made me feel othered because of my body. And they've never made me feel like anything about my body. Like, they just accept me. And, I have a loving partner who also is the same way. And I often think, like, I am very fortunate to have these people in my life who help contribute to that body positive mindset. But there have been points where, like, I've been really down bad and, like, haven't had any of that. And I do think it's harder for people who may not have that support system to, eventually make their way to being body positive. But like you said, I don't think it's impossible, because I think we've both been through periods where, we've had to really work really, really hard to maintain that mindset.
Yes. Can I tell you a little story? I swear it relates. I just got back from a vacation, and so, I am, like, living my best life, indulging on my vacation, and I have no shame. Like, to what you said, my body looks the way it does. It's how it's going to continue to show up. There's no hiding it or changing it. This is how it is. I'm going to enjoy what I want. But I came back, I'm in reality. I'm wearing my normal clothes. And, after that little vacation, like, indulgence, you can feel a little fluffier. And I noticed I put on this outfit and I loved the outfit, but I wasn't feeling my best in it. But I wanted to take photos in this outfit. And my partner happened to be around. He doesn't normally take my photos, but I asked him to. And so we went out, took this photo. I told him exactly where to stand, like, how I want to show up in it like this, because I'm like, if he takes it his way, like I'll hate the photo, I know how best it will look. And he takes the photo and I look at it and I'm telling you, and I'm saying this because I think that this can happen to literally anyone, no matter how hard you've worked on yourself. I look at this photo and I spiral, Natalie, like I spiraled in my mind. But I know from the work that I've done on myself with my body and with my confidence that I needed to like speak this out loud to this person who I knew would hold me accountable to these thoughts and validate that like those are a lie, that it was that my body is not the problem in this, and so I expressed to him how I was feeling. And he was like, okay, I hear you. I want to tell you what I see. And also, what if we like moved over here where the lighting's a little different and I changed the angle and you stand like this? And we did that. And I loved these photos. And I was like, first of all, great reminder that like, I am not all knowing. Okay. Like I can trust him and like, he can take a picture too without my direction. But more so, I think the important thing was that like, it is not worth it to look at this one photo and think that that is representative of how I always look and to think that it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, and to beat myself up and say, oh, maybe you shouldn't have like gone to In-N-Out that like third time on vacation. Like, no. It's just not, it just isn't worth it. And I bring that up because you said about having that community around you, people around you that are so important on the days where like, though we've done all the work, we still might not be feeling our best.
That's a beautiful story. And thank you for sharing that. I know it can be hard and vulnerable. And I always say this to my best friend sometimes where, we all have insecurities, but she might say something and she'll be really hard on herself. And I'll just say like, I wish you saw you through my eyes, because what you're talking about, like, I don't see it. Like I have heart eye glasses, like when I look at you and we're just so critical of ourselves.
Yes.
And I just, I think as someone, I've been taking pictures of myself since like 2013 and I've changed so much. Like my body has changed so much. Like I have changed so much. And so I'm so used to like looking at pictures of myself that, those thoughts rarely ever cross my mind.
I love it.
And I say that to say that I understand that, taking pictures isn't always something that is an enjoyable experience for people.
Yes.
That they can be really, really triggering. And so it's important for you to have a support system. And it's important to like, when you experience that, reflect and it's so nice that, your partner was there to help you through it.
Yes.
And say like, this is how I see you when I look at you.
Yes.
And it's not in this super critical space that you're in currently.
It was so awesome because to your point, I haven't found myself in that headspace in a long time. And so to have that triggering moment, it was exactly that. I was like, oh no, what is happening? Like I literally spiraled, but the community makes all the difference.
Do you feel like, so this is something that I don't know if it's a fully baked thought that I'm having, but do you feel like when we have these negative thoughts, we're a little bit more cautious because I think something, and like, just honestly, like when you said, like I'm a little fluffier, I might not have like, that might not have hit me. Not that it like super hit me, but I'm just thinking like, ooh, that's like a negative thought, and I think I am more aware of that and more cautious, but also just like, maybe, I don't know what the word is. Like I said, this is half baked, but
no, that's okay.
I'm more aware of these thoughts because of the current state of where we're at, where it feels like we are just super backsliding away from acceptance and into more of like a critical eye toward our bodies, or like everyone around us is currently saying like, F being fat, like I'm over it. And
literally.
I'm just wondering if like you maybe have that same experience.
Natalie, 100%. I can't tell you. This is also, I'm going to steal what you said, a half-baked thought. I love that. So bear with me. But I can't tell you how I've been catching myself having these thoughts more in the past 6 months than I have in years. And in ways, I'm like, oh, maybe this is good because I'm more aware that I'm having the thought. Therefore, I can do the work to work through the thought and to adjust my mindset. But also, I don't love it because I'm like, am I only having this thought because of what the conversation is? And I feel like that is in fact the truth.
You might just be more aware of it because everybody's talking like that. And you might just also be, I don't know, because like I'm thinking, and this is full circle, I'm thinking like, is this what people don't like about body positivity? Because usually I would take a statement like that and I'd be like, bad statement. We're not talking about it. I'm not harping on it. I'm not correcting you. When you say like, oh, I feel fluffy. I'm not like,
Fluffy.
oh no, like you, no, I'm sitting with it. And like, do people just hate that kind of like, we are not dealing with that negative comment, goodbye. And are people more so wanting to process in the moment, like what the repercussions of that comment is, which I can understand. But you know, also, I think it's totally normal if your whole life you've been ridiculed for your body to identify negative thoughts and be like, not for me.
Yes. And I feel like that's what I really used to do. But being that optimist, being that positive girly, I would be like, nope, no, I do not think that way. And I love that for myself, but also I do love that I've entered into this space of dissecting my thoughts a bit more. But as you said, that is a slippery slope. And perhaps that is where it is becoming this like, we don't like body positivity because of this and that. Thank you for letting me tell you that story. But I do want to ask you a specific question because for anyone who's watching, they'll see that you're wearing this like fabulous, colorful, beautiful top. Or anyone who has seen your Instagram or any of your content sees that you have the coolest style. And you mentioned earlier about wearing what you want to wear. And we both said how we know this is how our bodies are. So this is how we're going to show up and we're going to wear what we want. So I want to know from you as this plus petite girly that has the coolest sense of style, where do you recommend girls who are maybe shaped like you and want to dress similar to you or just love specific things that you're wearing? Where do you shop?
So some of my like coolest pieces that I've found lately have been secondhand, which I still like never be a vintage secondhand girly. Like the process of thrifting one, but thrifting while plus size is nuts.
Impossible.
And finding stuff that's like really stylish that was made for plus size people back then is also really hard. But there is a store here in Chicago called Lovesick Plus, and
I've heard of this.
They also have an online store, but like I love finding pieces there because the person who owns the brand is just like, she's so cool and she's so stylish. She just has this like eye, and it's really tailored to like the cool plus size girl today, I feel like. And so I'm able to like, I feel like my style doesn't really sit in one particular like category. And so it's really cool to go there and like find pieces, and I'll always look at things too. And even though it may be outside of my style, if it fascinates me, I'm going to try it. And I think that's where like some of my most interesting outfits are created, because if I see it, I'm like, I don't know that I have anything like that in my closet. I don't know how I would wear it. I don't know how I would style it. That's usually the recipe for a great outfit. So I love that. Some other brands I love, like looking for really unique things. Nasty Gal, their plus size section has dwindled, but I love finding like bold pants or sequins. I love sequins. So I love doing stuff like that. Eloquy for me has always been my like ride or die because I also work a 9 to 5, like I work in corporate. And
Yes.
so I need professional work clothes, but I'm wearing like bright pink suits or bright dresses. And Eloquy has always had that stuff for me. And the quality is really, really good. Where else? I love Finesse. They're
Yes.
accessible. Man, I am like really ASOS.
Yes.
Basically, like I am just looking for inspiration everywhere I can find it on social media. Like if I see someone wearing something, my first question is, does it come in my size?
Yeah.
And where is it from? Because I just like need it. And I love just experimenting with different styles. And it's just, I feel like plus size clothing, like it's come a long way. And I hope that it doesn't go back the other way given the
Yes.
climate, but you just sometimes have to get crafty. And sometimes I also like being like a DIY queen. I got this like
Yes.
little stitchy gun to
Oh, cute.
to make my clothes fit my body. Sometimes
Yes.
you could take two button down shirts and stitch them together and make a skirt or make something to tie around
Yes.
your waist. It's like you just have to kind of think in a crafty way to
Yes.
together something really cool.
I'm curious if you have like three essentials in your wardrobe. You said a pink suit. I'm curious, is
Oh
that
yeah.
essential or what are your go-tos?
Oh yes, so definitely a bold suit.
Okay.
You really like you will not find me in like an all black outfit these days, which used to be my go-to, but I need
Yes.
I need a bold suit, whether that's like a contrast suit, one side one color, the other side the other color, or just like a bright pink suit. That's
Yes.
essential to me. Okay, so I'm actually wearing an essential. I love these mesh tops that because they're
Same.
like perfect for layering. You
Yes.
could totally change an outfit with this. I've worn like a short sleeve jumpsuit with something like this underneath. It totally changes the look. So I feel like mesh tops are really good. And then something that's maybe not as fun, but is definitely a staple for me is a Brammy, like the tops
Okay.
with the bras built in. Classy neckwork is my favorite for Brammies, and I absolutely love them. They're like the base of every outfit for me because I'll wear a bra when I have to, but I don't love wearing bras.
Yes.
So a Brammy is perfect for me, and it's literally the foundation of every single outfit, whether I'm like layering or going to work. It's just, they're always there. I have them in like
Yeah.
every color and every style.
Girl, you just built us a whole outfit right
Yeah.
there. Like from base to outerwear.
Yep. There we
I have
go.
I have to ask you the mesh. Are you familiar with the brand Affirm? Do you know that?
No,
It's
no.
okay. I'll send you them on Instagram. It's AFRM.
Oh,
Do
yes, yes,
yes.
yes,
Am I
yes.
saying I could be saying it wrong?
No, I think you're
Okay.
right. I just thought of Affirm, the like payment.
Um,
No, yes,
but
love them.
their mesh and their sizing is like pretty inclusive. Also, it's so stretchy. Like,
Yes,
oh, some of my
yes.
favorite fits that I've worn have been actually when I saw you at Fashion Week last season, I was
Yeah.
wearing a dress from them. And I think you were wearing something with sequins and sparkles. So it's very true to our style.
We're so true to ourselves.
Yes.
That brand Affirm, I first tried them in a Newly box because I was like renting. And
Yeah.
I recommend that too, like for people who are trying to find their style.
Yes.
Newly is a really good service, and they basically like you can rent different clothes every month. And I found Affirm through them, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like it's very
Yeah.
fashion forward. It's not something that like
Yes.
we're used to as plus size girls. So it's really
Yes.
cool. I need to like go and add more of those to my wardrobe for sure.
Highly recommend. Love their
Yeah.
top. Like you said, the tops so mix and matchable. They have dresses,
Yeah.
all the things. It's so good. So I want to lean into pop culture for a
Mm,
minute. You
yeah.
touched on it. Actually, we touched on it quite a bit already, talking about the conversation right now in the media around bodies. And you yourself literally contributed to that conversation with your article that we mentioned earlier that you wrote for Cosmo, talking about how fat liberation is not a trend. I would love for you to go off a little bit on your article. I think you already sprinkled a little bit of the inspiration of writing it, that you were just feeling uninspired by the conversation that's happening. But I'd love for you to give us like a brief synopsis.
I mean, that article is, I feel like, probably one of the most single pieces of important work I've ever done, like for myself. Because writing for Cosmo, like, is a lifelong childhood dream of mine. I went to journalism.
I got chills.
Yeah, it is a dream. And to talk about something that's so important to me and so important to everyone else. And also it was kind of like my resistance and my FU to everything that is going on. And I do want to say, well, we'll get to that. But but the article basically, it was an op-ed, and it basically took people through my journey growing up fat, and all of the things that I endured as a fat child and a fat teenager and a fat young adult, and my arrival at body positivity and fat liberation, and truly just like how my life has changed and how I've rewired my brain, to live my best life. Like, it's truly like living my dream life. And I'm doing that all in that body. When people told me that, I would never have a dream career as a fat person, I would never find love as a fat person, I'd never be able to be active as a fat person. And so that piece goes into that. It also came on the heels of Fashion Week, where I noticed, like, a lot of diversity was not there. Only diversity I saw was on the Adore Me runway, which is where I met you.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of touching on that too, and also looked into how we've seen plus size diversity and inclusion decline over the past couple of years.
Yes.
And so it was really like a piece about, regardless of what the trend is around our bodies, which I think is ridiculous, that we boil our bodies down to trends. And what's it? Big lips, big butt, no boobs, big boobs. Like, why are we always, killing ourselves to fit into these trends that change every 5 years? And it was just kind of my love note to myself, and then to everybody else too, about like, even though there are going to be trends around our bodies, and even though it's going to feel hard to exist in your body, fat liberation for me was never a trend. And it is never something that I will disregard. And it doesn't matter what my body looks like. I will always fight for fat liberation and for fat people and advocate for them, because we deserve to be treated just like everybody else.
Yes.
And so that was like a brief synopsis of the article. And, I wrote it at a time where also Ozempic, Mounjaro, these weight loss medications were kind of like running rampant, and they still are. And in the beginning of that phase, like, I was really angry, and I felt betrayed and abandoned by a lot of the people who I felt like, who I was in this with together. And my views have since changed. I've just been like, it's not right for me to police my body, just like it's not right for people to make trends around my body. Like, settled, and just like, I'm going to let people do whatever they want, because it's not my responsibility or in my control, but I'm going to focus on me and focus on where I'm at with my body, and loving myself and accepting myself, just basically, as that article said, I'm going to hold it down for me regardless. So that's kind of how that journey has been.
Yes, as I said before, it's beautiful. I highly recommend that anyone who's listening, like, go and read it. We'll also have it linked in the YouTube show notes for everyone to check out, and obviously tagged on our Instagram, because it's so worth it. But yes, of course, I love what you said too, talking about things like Ozempic. That's been such as we know, like, a heavy hitting conversation in the space in general. I know in prepping for the BodCon, our conference that we host, our virtual conference that we host every year, we're even talking about having a panel around Ozempic to talk about this conversation, because I think, to what you said, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know for myself, I too found myself angry, like, where I was having heated conversations with people in my life about why I was so against it. And I think that, anything that brings change obviously is always going to be really uncomfortable and really hard to grapple with, especially when it's a space that we have found to be so life-changing for us and it is affecting our space so strongly. But funny, I too have found myself in the same spot of saying, I think that this is a very individual journey that I know I've found myself on, and I can't I don't want to speak on what I think other people should do because I have been so blatantly out there with I don't want people to say what I should be doing with my body. And so it's like anything else though. It's a journey to figure out exactly how you feel about it, and we don't all have to agree. But I love that that you explained like how you were feeling then and the journey of how you're feeling now.
Yeah. And I think my goal for other people is I just want everyone to get to a place where they feel comfortable in their body and acceptance in their body. Like every single day, there's going to be something that might make you feel uncomfortable in your body. And just, I hope that like you can create a safe place and a home inside your body that feels comforting to you. And that is going to look different for everybody. It's not necessarily just saying like, fuck diet culture and, I'm not doing this anymore. Like diet culture is very, very harmful for everybody. It's not good for anybody.
Yes.
But, people are so different and some people need to do different things for them to feel at home in their body. And I know what it's like to feel at home in my body. I also know what it's like to not feel at home in my body. And I think we have such a big fear of, like we've been existing in this world where it feels like everyone's on the same page. Like our bodies don't all have to look the same. Our bodies don't all have to be a certain size to be worthy. But then this kind of trend of weight loss medication feels like it's breaking that beautiful place we've created down with vibration. And it's really scary. And so that's why I think you see a lot of people at first getting really, really angry at this because they're just scared. Like we are all just children on the inside. Like we are scared that things are being taken from us. And that and it is still scary for me, but I have to just remind myself the goal is that people feel comfortable in their body. And that's just going to look different for everyone. It's not the same for everyone.
Going off of something else in your article that you wrote, I want to know, what does radical self-acceptance mean to you?
Yeah, it really just means that like everywhere I go, I walk into a room and I feel so confident and I feel so good.
Yes, girl.
Regardless of what I'm wearing. Like it's that feeling like when you put on just a really good outfit, or maybe even an outfit where you're like, I know someone's going to look at me so crazy on the street. Like you shouldn't be wearing that. And it's like, it's defying all the rules that people put on you around your body, around everything. And it's, for me, it's just really like taking all of that stuff and throwing it out and just doing me, wearing what I want, walking around like I am beautiful because I feel beautiful and I am beautiful. And just being happy and content in my own body. And I think honestly, truly, if we were to boil it down to like one thing, it's clothes for me, Some people it's makeup, some people it's something else. For me, it's clothes. It really comes down to what I'm wearing. And every day when I leave the house, like I make sure to put something on that matches the occasion for what I'm going for.
Yes. My next question for you was going to be, what are loud ways that we can declare body acceptance, perhaps without saying anything at all? And I feel like you already answered that question by saying wearing what you want, showing up how you want to show up, despite what other people may say or the looks you may get,
Yeah. Defiance, really. Like I love rebelling against stuff like that.
Yes.
And I think like, again, it looks different for everybody, but if you put on a piece of clothing, say you want to try something or say you want to do something, and at first it feels like a little like, I don't know, a little risky, like you feel a little uneasy, I challenge you to just go for it and just try it out. Like, even if it feels uncomfortable for a moment, the confidence that you're going to get from taking that risk and taking a chance on yourself is going to outweigh that like minor inconvenience or that minor risk that you took. There's a huge payoff there. And so I think that that's one way that you can just really lean into it.
You'll appreciate this. One thing that I do every time I put on an outfit is I tell myself, let's add one more thing. So one thing that might be a little unexpected, that might be a little like off, might be a little weird. I originally got inspired to do that through Fashion Week because I would think, oh, I'm going to be too much. And then I'd show up and I was like, oh my God, there is no such thing as too much, right? Everyone shows up how they feel best, how they're expressing themselves creatively. And I was like, if I just add one more thing, just push myself a little bit more. And what's funny is now to this day, like every day when I get dressed and I do that, often that one thing that I add is the one thing that I get complimented on.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I'm going to take that and apply it to my life too, because I feel like my accessory game is, it's getting there. We're getting there, but I love that mindset, and going to Fashion Week will really do it for you because we take fashion so seriously. We take outfits so seriously.
Yes.
I'll never forget this outfit. I'll send you a picture so maybe we can put it on screen. But I wore this outfit last fall or spring or whatever to work. And it was the craziest outfit I think anyone has ever worn to work. And
I love it.
Never got I got so many compliments on it, and it was a wild outfit. Like I can't believe I went to work with it. And people loved it. And it's just like, we just take style and fashion too seriously. Like just have fun. Like wear stuff that excites you, even if you don't think it goes together. Like who cares? Who cares?
Yes. I agree, girl. I think everyone's out here just wanting to have more fun. As you said earlier, we're all just kids. We're scared and we just want to have a good time. And like our outfits are something that we can have a good time with. And I think when we express ourselves, we also empower other people to go out and put on something that they might not. So yes, please, I can't wait, one, to see this outfit, send it over so we can put it on screen, and two, to see like the accessories you add. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah. And like you said, when we put on something that makes us shine and feel radiant, like you never know who you're inspiring.
Yes.
And that's just so powerful. And I say that to people too, who are like afraid to wear bikinis to the beach or swimsuits. And it's by taking that like bold step on your own, you're inspiring so many other people. Like, don't worry about if people are talking about you. No one is more worried about anyone else's body more than their own. But you do not know how many people you're inspiring to just be themselves and just wear a swimsuit to the beach, you know?
Natalie, this has been such an inspiring conversation. And I think that everyone will get a lot of value from it. So thank you. Before we finish though, I want you to drop like where everyone can find you. What is upcoming for you that we can look forward to? Give us all the things.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Natalie in the City with an underscore, on TikTok at Natalie in the City. And then I also have a blog, natalieinthecity.com, where you can find, you know, like the best plus size fashion tips and styling hacks. And then what's next for me? I'm really excited, potentially Fashion Week, but the week after Fashion Week, I organized a trip to Bali with some of the people who follow me on Instagram.
Wow.
And so we are doing like a body positive fat babe vacation to Bali. And I'm so excited for that. I can't wait. And we're going in September and it's coming up soon. So that's really exciting.
So
but
cool.
So traveling and also just like probably wearing all the outfits. That's probably what you can expect from me coming up.
Well, Natalie, thank you so much for being here. And BodPod Squad, thank you so much for listening. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to this podcast on Apple and Spotify. And you can also see all things visually on YouTube. You can see the really cool shirt Natalie's wearing and some of the photos we mentioned. You also can keep up with us in real time on Instagram at the BodCon and on TikTok at the BodCon. And as we said, we have our conference coming up and we can't wait to see you there. Bye.